So I start my day off my usual route into London along the A40. And annoyingly, I'm greeted with standstill traffic. When you're self-employed, there is nothing worse than something that's prohibiting you from going and earning money. If you're employed and your train's late or the tubes are cancelled, you can just phone up your boss and just say, I'm going to be a bit later, sorry about that. I spent a good half hour sitting on the Westway. Turns out there's a van on fire and all the traffic has been diverted off. Make sure you stay tuned to the very, very end, because a bad start doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have a bad finish. I'm in the arse end of nowhere. I take a cheeky look at Paddington Station, and to my luck, there's hardly any cabs there. I don't have to wait long before I get this job going to Camden. As soon as we come out of the rank onto Bishopsbridge Road, you can see just the sheer amount of traffic that has been diverted in this area. Once we're on the Marylebone Road, we're in the bus lane and we're pretty safe. It's a pretty simple route from here. We just take a left into Regent's Park, past the brutalist building that is the Royal College of Physicians. I got asked that point on my very first taxi exam, by the way. We go past the beautiful John Nash terraced houses, out of the park into Parkway. No surprise, Camden Council. Camden has shut all the other little minor roads in the areas off of Parkway, forcing all traffic onto Parkway. Luckily it's not too bad today. I get to spy up the Dublin Castle. That's the pub that's quite famous for some of the early Madness gigs. Britannia Junction, World's End, one of my favourite pubs in London. And out onto Camden Road, we go past the very first Grade 2 listed supermarket in the UK. This is the Sainsbury's that was built here in 1988. Straight up Camden Road, take a left into Pets at Home. And the young lady actually tells me she's come over from Dublin in Ireland. And in these moments, I can't help myself. Camden has a really deep Irish history to it. She's practically just across the road from the London Irish Centre. And they built the Irish dance halls, like things like Electric Ballroom. Electric Ballroom was originally an Irish dance hall. I explained all this to her. And she said, yeah, I'm not actually Irish. Neither's my friend. I thought, oh God. But she still enjoyed the fact, because obviously you live in Ireland and stuff. But I just thought that was kind of a cool link. I am a Camden tour guide after all. Whenever I've dropped off in Camden, I'll always swing past St Pancras station, because if a train comes in, that rank of taxis can soon be wiped out and you can just jump straight on and get a job. I'm not so lucky today, the rank looks pretty banged out, so I just head back into Central. I have a little sniff in the City of London, but I'm finding in the post-COVID work from home world, Fridays aren't particularly good in the city. I head back to the West End and manage to pick up these gents who want to go to Cumberland Terrace. Now, funnily enough, we was already admiring Cumberland Terrace earlier on our drive up to Camden. The hardest thing about this run is how the hell am I going to get up to Regent's Park? I'm faced with two options here. I can wiggle on the back streets, use Hanover Square, Cavendish Square and come out by the Langham Hotel, but it is a little bit left, right, and it can feel like you're kind of taking your passengers on a bit of a magical mystery tour. Or just take my chances and go straight up Regent Street. And thankfully, because of Westminster's traffic calming measures, post-COVID, we sit in a lot of traffic. But we get to admire the John Nash route. This is part of the processional route which once led from Carlton House Terrace all the way up to Regent's Park. You go straight up, past the All Souls Church, which is a John Nash church. His bust is actually featured outside and takes you all the way to Regent's Park. That's why it's called Regent Street and Regent's Park. It's named after the Prince Regent, King George IV. Once I drop these gentlemen off, I can admire the beautiful frontages of Cumberland Terrace. But it's these wonderful archways, ionic columns. Loving it. London just keeps on giving. I mean, the back of them ain't so nice. It's just these frontages on them that make it really nice. The Albany Street side, they look awful, but look into the park. It's probably like, there's no better place to live in London. I mean, look at that. Just them big old columns. Right, definitely can't live here, but I can go back to work. Rather than plying on the streets, I try my luck at another station. Let's go to Euston. Straight onto the rank at Euston, and it's another station that seems reasonably quiet. And what job do I get? King's Cross. You know, if people are travelling across the UK, they might come in at one train terminus and then need to get to another one. Thankfully, I wasn't on the rank for too long, so it didn't really hurt too much. One of the only problems with Euston Station is that getting out of the rank when it's particularly busy, it always backs up. This is only a temporary rank until a more permanent one gets built once HS2 is finished. The other good thing with one of these jobs is that it takes you to another train station. So if that rank's empty, you can jump straight on it. I look at the rank at King's Cross and there doesn't seem to be that much activity. So I give St Pancras another go. And this time it pays off for me.
Straight on and off here, let's have a little looky.
This is one of the best feelings in the job. We call it an on and off. And it's literally, you just pull onto the rank, there's someone there waiting for you, and away you go. No queues, nothing. It's amazing. It's a nice job as well. They want to go to the Hilton Hyde Park, which I know is on Bayswater Road, quite close to Queensway Station. Normally this is a pretty simple route, but Sussex Gardens is closed. So I'm forced over the Marylebone flyover, and thankfully enough, the traffic from the earlier fire has cleared up. I go over Bishopsbridge Road, we shuffle our way around Eastbourne Terrace, Craven Hill Gardens, Craven Road, bosh, out on Bayswater Road, and we're practically there. I have a little bit of a hunt around Kensington High Street before picking up these ladies on Exhibition Road. It's called Exhibition Road because it alludes to the great exhibition which took place in nearby Hyde Park, the profits from which afforded buildings such as the V&A and the Natural History Museum. They want Chinatown, which is perfect because that pulls me straight back into the middle of town where all the action's going to be. Along the Brompton Road, on the right hand side we can see Harrods. There's the Mandarin Oriental Hotel, the most expensive hotel in London. The Ritz on the right hand side there. And Fortnum & Mason's on the right hand side too. We get to Piccadilly, we hit some traffic. This is the usual Friday rush of people trying to get into the centre of London for their night out. But we're through, I set them on Shaftesbury Avenue, and away they go. After dropping them off, I opt for Soho, drive into Conduit Street, and I pick up this lady who wants to go to the Curzon Cinema on Victoria Street. She tells me that she was driving a Tesla and that she'd broken down on Conduit Street. I don't know if she'd actually broken down or if she'd just run out of battery. But nonetheless, I'm here to save her. Over into Bruton Street, where on the left, where Hakkasan now stands, is actually the site of a house where the Queen Elizabeth II was born. I'm actually quite excited to be heading to the Victoria area because at this point, I am busting for a pee. What? I mean, you got to think about these things as a cabbie. The traffic out of town is getting pretty heavy on Grosvenor Place, and I know that Buckingham Palace Road is shut, so I opt to go round the front of Buckingham Palace. As soon as I drop the lady off, I cannot contain my excitement that I get to go to the Iron Lung. I get so close. And someone hails me down outside. It's like, what are the chances? Moral of the story, if you want to go get dinner, if you want to go for a pee, just turn the light off. You know, don't be greedy. Pick up this couple, they want to go to the Bernard's restaurant at Berkeley Square. It's a pretty simple run, and it's kind of the reverse of what I've just done. Although this time, I opt for Marlborough Gate and come up St James's Street. A little bit of a shuffle up Albemarle Street, down into Dover and Hay Hill. I've got to go around Berkeley Square, and bosh, there they go. Very fancy restaurant. Luckily, I don't have to hunt for very long before I pick up my next job on St James's Street. This lady wants to go to Monmouth Street. Now, I'm going to be completely honest here. I screwed up on this one. Sometimes when you get someone in the cab and your brain doesn't quite fire, you might make a compromised decision. She says Monmouth Street, I know that's 7 dials. I'm thinking 7 dials, you've got to get it from the top. Shaftesbury Avenue, Piccadilly. So I go Arlington Street, right into Bennett Street, past the Ritz to get the right onto Piccadilly. I then instantly regret my decision. You can just see how busy it is by the Ritz and Piccadilly. What was the worst route 10 minutes ago might be the best route now. London's so live like that. Yes, I can see though Piccadilly is pretty chocker. That would have been the worst route. Now the lady in the back actually chimes in and she's quite rude to me actually. And she goes, "That's 2 minutes off my journey. That's 1/5 of the journey gone. Would you have not been better down Pall Mall?" I do appreciate that. I think I have screwed up here. I can take Pall Mall if you'd like me to. And she goes, "Yes, I insist you take Pall Mall." As we turn down to St James's Street, she says, "You're going to have to step on it." Whenever someone says this, I always say something to the effect of, "It's a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit. I can't control the traffic. I can only use the roads that are available to me." She then backs off a little bit, but then goes on to add that, "I pride myself on being on time, and I fear that you will make me late, and I don't want to be seen by my friends as someone who arrives late." In your head, in your brain, you're saying, if you pride yourself on being on time, then you'd think, right, maybe I should get a cab a little bit earlier. All I have to do is just inflate their ego a little bit. And just say,
I can go whatever we want to do. We'll go Pall Mall. I apologise for that little bit I've just done there. That was just a bit of a hesitation.
Give her the element of control and say, yep, I'm more than happy to go that way. I could not bear the burden that I would make you late.
Oh no, it's the worst, isn't it? And I would hate to put that through me for you to have that.
And she quieted down a bit. And luckily the way that we went, Pall Mall, I wiggled around the back of the National Gallery. She didn't tell me to do that, but I knew that would cut out quite a bit of time. And then luckily, coming up Charing Cross Road, traffic was incredibly light. She didn't say much after this, and I managed to get her there before 8 o'clock. I even offered a reduction in the fare, which she declined, and she just paid the legal amount. I wished her a good evening, and she said the same thing to me. That was a pretty good outcome if you ask me.
Have a good evening now, bye-bye.
In those moments, I just remind myself that 99% of all the people you ever get in your taxi are amazing. They're obliging, they're interesting, maybe they're just doing their own thing and they just have a real good trust and regard for what you do. In that moment, yeah, I did cock up. Just got to apologise and move on. We are only human at the end of the day.
I'm not out here to cause malicious. I just want to get her to the destination. That's all my job is. The sooner I finish with her, the sooner I can get on to the next job. You just got to remember that it is customer service. It's what I've been through forever.
And almost in good cabbie karma, I get another job straight over to Chelsea Bridge Wharf. Pretty good, because at 8 o'clock in the evening, I find it generally goes a little bit quieter. Not always, but it's because people are set in restaurants or maybe they've gone to the theatre. So there's not a lot of people moving around at 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. The hardest thing about this job is getting out of Covent Garden. Thank you to the City of Westminster. There is no way of getting through Covent Garden, and when you're in there, there's pretty much only one way out. So long and convoluted. Once we're out of Charing Cross, we come down to Trafalgar Square. Once we're on the Mall, we're pretty clear. I can run it all the way out Buckingham Palace Road, left into Chelsea Bridge Road. Once I'm over Chelsea Bridge, I go past that super fine eating establishment that is the Chelsea Burger. That is a point, by the way. If you're on the knowledge, people do ask for the Chelsea Burger Bar. And then I drop her by the Chelsea Pestana Hotel. As soon as I drop off, I get an app request from a nearby street. This is ideal because it might take me another 15 minutes to actually get back into an area where I can find a job. But also, as I said, it's that 8:30 kind of slack period. The streets will naturally be a bit quieter. And then find out it's going to King's Cross. Touch. And as I come out of Sopwith Way, I make a decision to go south. Drawing this up on a map, you will see that the best route would be back across Chelsea Bridge and through the West End up to King's Cross. The West End at this time, as we've just seen, is incredibly busy. It might be the most direct route, but you are definitely going to get stuck in a lot of traffic. So I opt to come south of the water a little bit. Get onto Battersea Park Road. There's the Battersea Cats and Dogs home on the left hand side. Go past the brand new Battersea Power Station tube. Along 9 Elms, we get to Vauxhall, and from here it's pretty plain sailing. We go up to Waterloo, over Waterloo Bridge, through the Kingsway underpass like a secret agent. We do a little shimmy around Bloomsbury Square to get ourselves onto Theobald's Road, buzz it up Gray's Inn Road, neatly setting us up for York Way, and then left in the Goods Way where I can set the passenger off. And again, being the Camden guide that I am, I tell the passenger exactly why it's called Coal Drops Yard.
Got the coal out the top on down to the bottom, but here we go.
The train carts would have coal in them, and in these railway sheds they would open up the bottom of the carts that would drop ready to be distributed across the country through our vast canal network. Coal drops.
No worries, have a good one.
I don't think she was entirely bothered, but you know, sometimes people enjoy it. Once I drop off, I have to go past either King's Cross or St Pancras station. So I check out the King's Cross rank. I don't have to wait long before picking up this young gent who's come down from Newcastle and he wants to go to Shoreditch. Pentonville Road, City Road. Play around at Old Street Roundabout. Past the Citizen M Hotel, underneath what is the overground line at Shoreditch. Forward into Bethnal Green Road, go past Box Park on the right hand side, right into Sclater Street, and bosh, we're there.
And you sort of end up in different places across London. You're like, well, I was in Battersea, Chelsea, and then I was up to King's Cross, and now I'm in Shoreditch, and I've not been there for ages. I could be tempted for Brick Lane Bagel. Generally, if I drop off in Brick Lane area, like, you've got to go in there and get to the bagel shop. Like, that's just one of the best things I love, just when you're in this end of town. You've got to go to Brick Lane and get a bagel. That's like the law.
But as you can see, Brick Lane is pretty busy. I can't get a parking space, so I go against that idea. I head back down Bethnal Green Road, get me into the city, and I have this psychotic geezer trying to hail me down. I do get quite a lot of anxiety when you get people like this. He's clearly not quite right. He's obviously in the middle of the road, swaying around a bit, eyes rolling in the back of his head, trying to hail me down. That does not represent someone who I particularly want in my cab. And what you can't see in this footage is that as I'm approaching the lights, he is behind me, sprinting after my cab.
Oh, lucky that turned green, for Christ's sake.
I got quite a distance from him. You get like drunks like that round your cab. You know, you get stuck at a red light. It is the worst feeling ever. There's probably gonna be people in the comments who go like, "I'll deal with it, you're a cab driver," or whatever. I've still got a lease payment on this cab. With the interest, it's a £70,000 vehicle. I've had this before when the guy smashed my window. I had a drunken guy, yeah, he punched through the window and it cost me, what, 150 quid excess to get that repaired. Not worth the money or the aggro. A load of older cab drivers will tell you this. They'll have certain fixed rules, like, you know, not going into Soho after 9 PM or something like that. Always keeping the doors locked. It's a win, really. It's not a job, but I'd rather not have the money in a case like that. I'm just here on City Road, and I'm just going to quickly nip in Tesco's and just get a meal deal. Nutrition.
When I come out, there's a young lady who's waiting by my cab, and she's desperate to go to Shoreditch because she's lost a lot of her friends. She gives me the address on Shoreditch High Street. And very luckily, I'm able to reunite her with her friends that she's on the night out with. Their general group was quite drunk, so I'm very eager to get back out of the East End again. Just get back in the Central, get someone normal. As I've got my delicacy of a £3 meal deal to eat, I head to a nearby rank. It's around 9:30 at this point, so I head to the Barbican estate. It's at this point on Chiswell Street where there's actually 2 cabs coming towards me, but because I have right of way, I get to jump on the rank first. I barely even get to sniff my sandwich before these 2 come up to me and ask for Curtain Road. Just a short job round a corner.
That worked out relatively well. I've now got to find somewhere to eat this sandwich. I want to get away from East London. I'm on Curtain Road, so called because it was once home to the Shakespeare Theatre. The original Globe was based on Curtain Road. Curtain, if you think about the theatre, theatres and curtains. Fun little fact for you there. I think the Globe was originally up there. They found bits of it in the excavations. But yeah, let's go. This is the only other thing I've noticed as well. Because these doors are so piss poor, like they don't quite line up. You see that handle sticks out, and like the door, it doesn't quite look like it's shut. So when people get out, they shut the door. So what happens is they do it a couple of times just to make sure it's shut.
I head all the way back to the West End and it's a real slack period. We're coming up to 10 o'clock and I can't get anyone. You know, I had more luck in the East End dealing with the drunks. Then these group of guys held me down at Chutney Marie. Thank God.
How
much, mate, to Fenchurch Street?
How much? 18 quid?
Tenner?
No, it's all metered, mate.
50?
Nah.
There's 4 fully grown men and they want to try and get to Fenchurch Street for £10. Well, the tube's going to be about £2.50 each, and even then you've got to walk some of the way because Fenchurch Street is the only mainline train station in London without a tube stop. What can you get nowadays for £2.50? You can't even get a meal deal for that. I just paid £3 for that. So I drive around aimlessly, almost feeling pretty gutted I didn't take the offer for a tenner.
That sucked. Let me know if there's any cabbie that does fixed fares in town, like under 15 quid or whatever. You know, when I lived in North London, if someone's like, oh, you know, how much to Palmer's Green, mate? You'd be like, I'm looking to go home in the next hour. What am I realistically going to earn in an hour? I can cut a deal with a person going to Palmer's Green. It's going in the correct direction. I'll earn more money than if I'd be trying to scour around in town. Or, you know, I'd end up with a Wimbledon. Yeah, it might be 40 quid, but it's in the wrong direction. He's probably gone to his mates and gone, watch this, I'll get us a cheap cab. I think all of them are on their phones and their Ubers. And you just think, what am I to you? We'll carry on. I've got to get something. It's like 10 o'clock. Like, you know, I'm kind of a bit anxious that we haven't had anything for quite some time. So hopefully just a couple more and then one in the right direction, really.
Heading back in Shaftesbury Avenue, I managed to get this gentleman. He wants to go to St Pancras. This is probably one of the most difficult jobs in the taxi. And I've tried lots of different routes, but this I find is probably the quickest and cheapest for the passenger. We go back up Bloomsbury Street, we go right at Great Russell Street, past the British Museum, we go around Russell Square, past the Russell Square cab hut, forward into Bernard Street past Russell Square. Bernard is actually named after Thomas Bernard, who was one of the contributors to the nearby Foundling Hospital. Much of the street names in this area are for the Foundling Hospital, by the way. Coram Street, Handel Street. Have a little look next time you're in the area. We go up Hunter Street, left into Lee Street, right into Cartwright Gardens, forward into Mabledon Place to get you right out onto the Euston Road. It is a lot of squiggling and wiggling, but there's really no other suitable option that is time and distance effective. I drop the gentleman off and once again the King's Cross rank is empty. Woo! It's 10:30 at this point and stations will generally slow up quite a bit. By this point I've done my 9 hours or so in town and I'm ready to go home. I just want something in the correct direction, £10-15, that would be amazing. But this gentleman comes up to my cab and he asks for Ascot. How much to Ascot? On the meter, it's about £120. He replies and says, I was hoping to get a black cab. On Uber, it's £60. And I instantly reply,
You do 80? Should we meet at 80?
Go on then.
Yeah?
touch. I normally screw up fixed prices so much. The key thing with these fixed prices is that it's got to be good for both of you. I was happy to go home on like a £10-15 job anyway, so it's already a big bonus. Yes, it does take me west and a lot further past my house. Now don't think that if you hang around on stations late at night you're going to get nice jobs like that. They don't always happen. It's statistically more likely to happen because people might miss their trains or they're more desperate to get home. I drop him off and that's another shift done. If you've enjoyed this, consider joining my email newsletter. It's a free weekly update of what I do behind the scenes in the taxi or on this channel. And if you're subscribed to that, you get the very first access to anything new that I'm working on. Or want to watch another video? check out this one over here. See you again soon. Bye bye.